Callum, are you ready for us to record the most cursed video that we've ever tried to record?
Absolutely fucking not. I don't know what the fuck. I have no idea what we've just sat and done for the past 10 minutes, but Ewan talked to himself for about 8 of it and said it's fine a lot.
This is an extensive
And I'm worried
level.
that if we put this video on YouTube, it's gonna like Pandora's box release some sort of like horrible plague onto the world.
This has been the most technically cursed video we've ever tried to record, which works quite well in this technically cursed game, as it turns out. So this is Returnal. This is a PS5 exclusive. It came out about a month ago, maybe? I can't even remember now.
I mean, it probably came out around about the time we started trying to record this video.
Yeah,
so.
probably, and trying to work out how to do it. So, some technical things up ahead. The video you are watching, if everything has gone right, has been recorded directly on the PS5 because I don't have a decent way of capturing PS5 footage. So, take that into account when you're seeing visual quality, maybe. It should be pretty good. I tested it. It looks pretty good, but that is where this video is coming from. It is not a direct HDMI capture, so just keep that in mind before people shout at me that I'm casting this game in a bad light. Also, like I said, when this game first came out and I started playing it, I was like, hey, we should record a video with this before I get too far in the game and have to like cut round a bunch of spoilers or something like that. As it turns out, I am terrible at this game and I have not progressed. So
great.
Yes. So
the site mythos of you being terrible at video games continues.
Also continues to be bad at this specific game in a number of very specific ways. Mainly that I'm just bad at video games. But let's continue. So Returnal is a roguelike. It is a sci-fi roguelike where in the very traditional way where when you die you get reset, you lose everything except one currency, you go back to the beginning and have to restart. All the levels are randomly generated. We have a pretty decent, not that button, we have a pretty decent map which will show you where you need to go. This map is excellent actually, like it does a really good job of
pretty good
showing.
Looking. I like the style and the work where it's like very clearly like a weird CRT thing with like scan lines and stuff.
So this is all done like based on her ARM computer, like
that's cool.
That she uses.
This is all very Alien.
It does have definitely that feel. Okay. Hey, it's a roguelike. I've never seen what the fuck this is before. Let's see
this is new?
I've never seen this before. Let's see what the fuck this is. Oh.
My guess is that this is a Dark Souls-like ghost, right?
So
they're showing my last moments.
So, and there's the body. So, I was told this was part of this game, but that is literally the first one of these I've ever seen. So,
oh yeah, like somebody else has died.
So if I scavenge from them, I lose 3 ether. If I avenge them, I'll take 4 ether. So I am literally fresh out the door with basic equipment, so I'm not going to avenge anyone. So I'm going to spend some ether to scavenge off them. And I get a key. So that was totally not worth that. But anyway.
Excellent, good.
So this game is very mechanics heavy in a way that it's kind of difficult to explain every single part of it, but I'm going to try. So to the bottom left, next to the map, you have the 3 currencies, top to bottom. Top one is your ether, which is the only currency that survives a reset. The middle one is keys to open locked chests. The bottom one is, I keep wanting to call them ooblets, but they're not called ooblets. They're oblites.
Yeah, it's a completely different game.
Obolites, something like that. But that's your standard, your standard currency.
Currency you use for dance battles.
Yeah, exactly. On the left, we've got a slot for tools. You've got health, and you've got your proficiency, your weapon proficiency, which basically shows how, as that levels up, it means the weapons you find that get dropped will be of higher level once you fill that bar up. So currently I will only get level 0 or 1 weapons. And then the grenade next to it is my secondary fire. So you start with this pistol, which fires like this. There's an active reload as well, which helps at points. And also to show the PS5 version features, sorry, this is me half pressing the trigger. This is me full pressing the trigger, which is the alt fire. And currently I have...
How good is the distinction between those two things?
Like, that's...
Did you do one by accident? Like...
So, in the heat of battle, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
Here, it's like, the standard pressure you use to pull a trigger in, like, a PS4 gets you to halfway. Oh, we're just fucking going, huh? Okay, right. This is this is from Housemarque, who are known for shmups. Well, not really. 26 years really is how they're really known for. So they did like Super Stardust. They did
Ex Machina.
Next Machina, right? Was the
Next Machina, sorry, whatever it was.
So they're known for twin stick shooters, and this is kind of a third-person twin stick shooter in terms of the combat, where like
look at that spread fire that just happened.
So those enemies are firing like spread fire projectiles. You don't have a lot.
That looks really cool.
Yeah,
I really like the look of that.
You can't take a lot of hits, which does not help. You also have a dodge. Oh, you have a dodge.
Oh, you got a sword as well, apparently.
Yeah. So if you dodge, you can dodge through bullets. So I can like.
Oh yeah. So I remember the thing when I was looking at this game. It specifically tells you that like you are invulnerable while dodging. Like the game basically says you have a bunch of iframes.
It's probably actually here in like the dash. You are immune to damage from hazards and most attacks while dashing. Like it just straight up says that. So yeah, you have dash, you have a sword, which you don't get at the start, but you get very quickly, so that's not really a spoiler. And that's kind of all the tools you have. So you start with this pistol with a grenade launcher. The alt fires are not unique to weapons, so you can get a bunch of alt fires per gun, but the gun you start with is always the pistol. But the alt fire changes per run as well. So currently I have this blast one, which is actually currently pretty good. You get these keys, which again just kind of unlock locked chests, which I'm sure we'll find one at some point. Also, useful point here on the map, so you can see how where I am, I've got two doors. I've got this blue door and this triangular door and this rectangular door. It very clearly says the triangular door does not take you to the final boss. It is a side area, so if you don't need to go there, you don't need to go there. And this one will lead you to the boss. So we're actually going to go take a side thing, mainly because I want to die to show what that's like, but also just to see what we've got here.
Surely if you want to die, you should just go to the boss. The boss will probably kill you.
Yeah, but I'll to be honest, I'll probably die before I get to the boss. Also, it cannot be understated that this game looks fucking incredible. Again, this is why I was very clear at the start about how we're recording this. But like this on a 4K TV is kind of staggering. It's kind of incredible how good it looks, especially when
progenitor egg. What was that?
So there's a bunch. So this is one of these random rooms where you'll get like, hey, it's an artifact. You have to pay obolites. There you go. To get these are just random.
There's a lot of highlighted words there, like attaching a parasite highlighted, repairs integrity highlighted.
Integrity is just your health, basically. Parasites are another mechanic, which is like, hey, also look, hey, just there's aliens.
That's very engineer from Alien. I'm getting big Alien vibes off of this whole thing, to be honest.
Specifically, as soon as somebody said it, I could not see it again, but somebody very specifically said you get hard Promethean vibes from it. Prometheus vibes from this.
Vibes are, yeah,
for
That's
sure.
kind of what I mean is like the whole Aliens universe.
Totally, yes. You definitely get bits of that. You can see where they're pulling inspiration from.
I tend not to think about Prometheus if I don't have to.
It wasn't great. It really wasn't great. You'll occasionally come across these rooms that are just kind of like traps, so that will do a shit ton of damage, so I need to get over to... Does it go the whole way over there? It does, okay. Here, grab this thing. Ah, fuck. Okay, there we go. Oh!
I did not know that would happen.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Silphium is just like your standard like repair currency thing. Here's your lock chests. You require a key, so I'll get two of them, so let's see what's in here.
Whoa. That's cool.
Yeah. So artifacts. Oh, hey, there's that progenitor egg that we almost spent money for. So artifacts, again, lots of named things in this game. Artifacts are like, you can have as many of them as you need, and they just give you various buffs. Like they're just
perks.
They're perks, yes, basically. Parasites are different.
What's the yellow thing that you just left in that room?
Yellow
the,
thing.
Like pick up that's on the
it's just a bunch of obolites. It's just
okay, it's currency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's another one. Oh, somehow no. So we can see what this is. Okay, so here's your weapons. So we have a new weapon here on the right. So you see how that one says 1? That's got 1 star, and this is 0 star.
Yeah.
Which means it's more proficient. Which means it has one of those extra stat things filled out.
And a snub nose barrel.
And a snub nose barrel, which is a perk. A weapon perk.
The guns have perks.
The guns have perks as well, but the perks only unlock after you use them for a bunch of time. So
right, okay.
it makes sense.
Got
So like
mastery levels or whatever.
kind of, but if I go in here again into my equipment, so you can see my stun those barrel there says deals more damage at the cost of accuracy.
Sure, yeah.
So these turrets, oh god, this is gonna suck. Okay. These turrets have a shield.
I mean, you said you wanted to die. That's...
Yeah. Oh, okay. There's a gap. Those shields can only be broken by the melee attack, so you need to get in there with the melee attack to destroy the shield, and then you can fuck them up. It's handy. Let's really get in that grenade launcher. Oh, I'm gonna die almost immediately. This is excellent. Okay, fucking in there. Okay. Again, the map's really good for like, it just straight up shows like, yeah, here's where all the bad guys are. Like, that's not the thing they're trying to do. It is very much like, how do you handle us throwing a lot of shit at you very quickly?
Do you always, is it, the roguelike experience kind of dies on the fact of like, do you think any of the deaths are cheap? Like, or do you always feel like it's you that's fucked up?
I mean, almost always yes. I have a little bit of problem with the UI for like, here's where an attack is coming from. It's a little unclear sometimes, so you do definitely get like railed in the back from an attack that you just had no idea what was going. And also just like, this is more a thing about the genre, the twin stick genre more than anything else, but like, there is so much shit happening all of the time.
Yeah,
it's about managing
that's
your...
what shmups do.
Yeah, it's about managing your attention, basically. So another, again, more mechanics. There's a purple thing over here. Purple things are malignant, usually. Yes. Oh, this is just a parasite. Okay, so parasites are these risk-reward things where you get one fewer kill to increase your adrenaline level, but your melee damage goes down by 50%.
What's your adrenaline level?
God. So see the thing at the bottom that says 1.3 right now?
Yeah.
That is your adrenaline, which basically goes up the more you kill things. If you take one hit, it immediately resets back down to 1. There are there are 5 levels of adrenaline, which go from, like, the first level gives you faster reloads, I think. One of the levels gives you, like, more oblites per pickup.
Oh, so it's like a risk reward, not risk reward kind of thing, but like if you're skilled enough, you can get massive benefits.
It's a combo beater with perks, is basically what it is. Yeah, basically. So that's your... Oh, these fuckers, right. So, that's...
I love listening to you play video games because every single time he finds any enemy, he makes it seem like it's the worst thing on the planet.
All the enemies in this game suck. All of these fucks are the worst. So, okay, there we go. Hey, I died. So now that we've done... Oh yeah, so when you reset, you get these clips of... This is the intro to the game. You get these kind of slam shots of like, here's some extra stuff from the start of the game that shows the resets happened, and then you're just straight back in it. Like, this is us starting a new run almost immediately. So with all the mechanic stuff out the roads, I am kind of all over the place with this game in terms of whether I like it or not. Where I really like a lot of the things it's doing in terms of like lore and feel and mood. And like obviously the look of it is incredible. So there's my adrenaline level 1. So now my overload, which is my quick time reload thing, is more powerful, basically. Active reloads is more powerful now. Also, my new alt for this run is the electricity gun, which just like bathes things in electricity. It's probably one of the better ones.
Shotgun from Quake,
to be honest. Although it's not even a shotgun, but it's got some range on it, which is kind of cool. Really good for crowd
shotgun, lightning gun, that's what it's called.
Yes. But yeah, I like a lot of the things it's doing, but it really has a bunch of... This game, I think I said this in the podcast, this game fits quite nicely into a brand new genre, which is, it's a real pity that Hades came out, because it does some interesting stuff in terms of story and explaining its world based on the reset, but not as well as Hades did, where it definitely seems like I mean, nothing was going to, right, because Hades had such an interesting development cycle, and like they did early access and all of this kind of stuff. Like that, all of that makes sense. But the thing about this game is it falls back on some of the original kind of roguelike problems where it basically unlocks a bunch of story as you progress through a biome, and then once you've seen all that story, you're not getting anything new until you progress, right?
Yeah.
And and like I've basically seemed like I've unlocked most of the stuff that I can do here. Claimer. Xenotech device recycling materials can damage integrity. I'm not touching that fucking thing.
No, do it.
Lie down. So that's part of it, where the reason why you stick with something like Hades when you suck at video games like I do is that every time you die... Okay, I have no idea what it's now about to show us. So we'll see. Okay, that was it. Apparently. So what did that do? Let's find out. Oh, it gave us one of these, which is a... Okay. Grants plus 5 weapons % damage for every 2 obolites, 200 obolites, up to 20%. Sure.
Okay, so you sacrifice health to get...
It's sacrifice health to get... Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Cool. I have less health to do this with. Excellent.
It's fine. You were going to die anyway. You might as well know what the thing does.
A bunch more times. But yeah, so like the reason why you stuck with something like Hades was like, even though you sucked at it and kept dying, you were always going to get something. Like, it might be a throwaway line between two characters, or maybe a chunk of story.
Yeah, Hades was very good at giving you constant nuggets of new things to keep you doing the
exactly.
work. Yeah.
It definitely seems like I've mined all I can out of this first area, and it is just waiting for me to continue now, basically. Structurally, based on, and this is not really a spoiler because they've talked about it, there are 6 biomes in total. I have spent 8 hours maybe with this. No, that can't be right. Probably about 6 hours, I would say. Like, from a relatively slow start, like your first run is pretty long as it explains a bunch of stuff to you and fills out a bunch of story things. But like, I spent 8 hours in this first biome just throwing myself at it.
Yeah.
This is okay. Here's a new mechanic: malignancy. So basically, every type of pickup in this game can be malignant. In which case, it is just the item. Like, this is just a key. It's not special, but you can see it has this malfunction probability. So I'm just going to do this to really fuck up my run. So I'm going to pick this up. Cool. I now have a malfunction because it had a high probability. So see in the top left, it's got your malfunctions.
Minus 75% weapon damage. That seems bad.
While stationary. And
while stationary.
And in order to resolve that malfunction, I need to collect an artifact somewhere. Oh, these things. These things don't harm you, but they give you a bunch of currency if you kill them, and they eventually disappear. I need to just get them. Come here, you fuck. Tentacle technology in this game, spectacular, really good.
Yeah, good
really
looking tentacles.
Tentacles. You also have these teleports as well, which you unlock through the level, where you can basically just jump on them and go, hey, go back to any previous translocator you've also activated.
Sure, yeah.
Really useful for things where like you would have to cross large chunks of the level again, which there are various mechanics that would need you to do that. But yeah, so it doesn't... Sure, let's grab this new weapon. This is a biological shotgun.
Great.
Which fires a bunch of... Oh, that's me... See, again, that's me doing alt fire when I didn't mean to. Single fire. There's your shotgun. I don't know if it comes across... Yeah, I'm gonna put it... I'm holding the controller up to the microphone to try and pick this up because there's no other way to record it, but... Like, it makes a little alien noise whenever you fire it, which I think is quite cool, and that comes out the speaker.
Again, you can see it. It's like that gun in Half-Life, right? Where it's like living.
Yeah, the description on this thing is pretty good. I think it's actually... Well, let me... Does it actually say in here? Spirit Mob Blaster, bioengineered weapon, bioammunition, very effective. But like, it's got like whole data banks for like, here's all the stuff that you've seen so far, and here's all what it does, and all this kind of stuff. Does it give you any info? Oh, this menu sucks sometimes. It really does. I just haven't got any. Oh, there we go. Based on some type of amphibian creature.
Many of its organs seem to be redesigned to remove your central nervous system remains intact, causing the weapon to unknown error and stop functioning when it reaches functional capacity. You basically kill something. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think part of it is like, yeah, you basically squeeze its guts and it throws up these bullets, which is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I also don't like the shotgun. It sucks, but we're gonna just go with it and see. So see that thing on the left there that's kind of forming almost. That is another mechanic in here where you'll essentially get locked into these these areas kind of the same as, like, this is a roguelike thing. Like, the roguelikes do this. But those creatures don't appear immediately. They basically give you some time to deal with these ads before the big thing appears, which is this fucker.
Right. Sure.
So I need to be very careful because this thing will annihilate you very quickly. And I just... Yeah, there we go. Okay. Whoop. I'm gonna make a lot of noises because this is one of those games where you make a lot of noises while dodging
This is
shit.
just like you playing video games.
The only reason I'm the one doing this video is because I'm the only one that has a PS5. That's
oh yeah, I would totally be the one taking the reins
Yeah.
on this if I had a PS5, but like
Yeah.
I can't get a PS5.
Yep.
So that was going to be our question, because I asked this on the podcast as well, and might as well ask it here. Like, is this a reason to try and go through the effort to pick up a PS5? Like,
For this alone, absolutely not.
Okay,
it has too many... There's one person I would recommend this to, and that is my mate I used to work with, who thinks Nex Machina is the greatest game ever created. For him, possibly.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely one
The
of
person who really likes Housemarque games.
totally, like, it's a really good one of those Housemarque games, as far as I can tell. Yeah, like, it's got... Like, the fact that you've basically mined all the lore out and you're basically stuck until you beat the boss, basically. Like, you basically get nothing else out of this game in terms of story content until you just go and beat the boss. Also, like, it feels weird bringing this up because we've kind of moved past this as a fucking culture, but this game is 70 quid. This is a more than full price next generation game. Well, the new full price, I assume, next gen PlayStation exclusive. That seems a lot for a game
As on the spot.
And the other reason I kind of wanted to show this off was because once you get into it, you will very quickly know if this is something you're going to need to buy, right? Like, if you just look at the marketing for this game and like the kind of ads and stuff like that, it seems kind of like a cool shooter. Like, it is way not that. It is a hard as nails twin stick shooter that just happens to be in third person.
Yeah.
And it's very important you know that, especially if you're going to go drop 70 quid on it. I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
For me,
especially the way that like Returnal was kind of given like prime real estate, right, and like Sony conferences and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Like, it got pushed as like a Sony AAA thing, and this isn't really the sort of game that Sony AAA things put out. Like, they don't make games like this. This is why you get people like Housemarque to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, having it in that position might also confuse people when they see it, especially when they're like, oh, it's a third-person shooter made by Sony. It's not that.
No,
it
is very much
definitely not that. Yeah,
it's not, like, especially when you compare this to something like Uncharted or like A Last of Us or like a traditional Sony AAA game. Like, this is just not that. Like, it's not trying to be that. Like, it's not like it's failing to be that.
No, of course not. Yeah.
But I mean, if you want, it's hard to escape the idea that, partially due to no fault of its own, due to like COVID and that kind of stuff, neither console had a lot of games when they launched, right? Like, they were thin on the ground with exclusives, and even now, like, a lot of the big games coming out are like cross-gen, so you don't have a lot of exclusives.
Yeah.
So this game coming from a respected Sony dev with a astounding look to it, like, you can see how you get in a position where you're like, yes, we can charge full price to this, but you have to know what you're buying. And for me, this was a lot of money for what this game has given me. Like, I'm not I am not that kind of person to do that. Like, I am the person who spent 50 quid on Guitar Man at launch, and I do regret nothing, right? Like, I will spend...
No, there's no point. No, you never regret Guitar Man
Exactly.
purchase. I'm the person that spent like 80 quid on DJ Hero when it came out.
Exactly, right? Like, you know if
and that game's fucking amazing.
Exactly. But it's still 80 quid, right? And if you're not into music games or a specific type of music game with that kind of skill level, 80 quid is a lot of money for that game, right? And that is the thing about this. Like, you have to be very ready to just throw yourself at this over. If you're not like super into this genre, you're going to have to be ready to just throw yourself at this. And again, it is impossible to not keep bringing up Hades in this conversation.
Of course, yeah.
If you... Hades was a lot of people's first roguelike, right? Because roguelikes have a
reputation
for being like this, right? Being super hard, unforgiving, like throw yourself at it over and over again. And Hades basically turned that into a game that like it doesn't. It is very careful with not wasting your time if the thing you're not.
It's not.
Just
Yeah,
there
Hades is by no means easy. Like it's not an easy game,
no.
but it is very rewarding and like gratifying with the time that you spend with it, even though you are throwing yourself at the same thing over and over again.
And you are getting some variety in the characters and the dialogue and all of that stuff. Like that stuff is there, so that even if you suck at video games like me, you do get something out of it, and it pushes you to spend 30 hours finishing that game, right? Or however long it takes you. This does not have that. This is very much a more traditional roguelike in that thing, and does not have that thing to pull you through.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like a bad one of them either.
No,
like,
totally. But again, the two people you need to say this to are people who are looking at this as a Sony AAA game like Uncharted. It ain't that. Also, people who look at this going, "Oh, I liked Hades, which was a roguelike. I like this." It also is not that. It is a different thing, right? You also get these areas like which are hidden in the levels. Well, okay. Should probably also talk about the procedural generation of the levels in this game, where it is not like every room is different. It is assembling a run from a bunch of predetermined rooms. But the predetermined rooms themselves are not particularly random, where every time in this room there's a secret area there. Like it's that kind of level of setup.
It's being made up of like chunks as opposed to actual bits.
But the chunks themselves are also not randomized any time. Like,
the chunks are set. The
chunks are set. I mean, they have different enemies on them sometimes, but the chunks themselves are the chunks. Like that's what they are. So like, okay, like remember this room from the last time? Like it's this room again, and there's always a chest here which is unlocked, and there's always a chest. I like the tracker swarm better. There's always a chest down here which is malignant, and also a bunch of oblights over there which are also malignant. Like I know that now, having seen this a bunch of times. But again, this is a lore room, right? There's a bunch of like these
there's stuff happening there,
like you scan them and get a bunch of story. You're like, okay, cool. But like I got that in my third run, and nothing else has appeared since then.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But yeah, it's so like I said, there's 6 biomes. I have only heard things about what happens when you die in the second biome, and as far as I can tell, the thing that happens is you go straight back to the first biome, but your path through the first biome is theoretically quicker, but I cannot confirm that because I have not seen it.
Sure.
Fuck. That jump is a little bit too floaty for me, but that's maybe just me more than anything else. Yeah, so that's like, again, I don't want to show too much of this because a lot of it is about discovery, but also like, there's not a lot much more to show really. The game, it's a lot of this, and again, from what I've heard, because I have not seen it, the Fallout biomes are very different looking. They have completely different enemy setups and enemy like there aren't a lot of repeated enemies. Like they're very biome centric, but it does mean I've seen those fucking tentacle dogs an incredible amount of times, right? Shotgun, god damn it. And yeah, like the annoying thing is the story stuff they do set up is super interesting. Like I was hoping we would get to a particular bit in the run, because it is still in the run even if nothing actually happens when you do it anymore. These fucking bats, I swear to god, they are the worst enemies I've ever fought in a video game. But see, I've got another one of them. Again, 8 hours, not seen one of them. We do a video about this, I now see 2.
There's 2,
yeah. I wonder if like it was just oh fuck.
Oh god.
So see, that's the thing. Like I didn't know that thing was there at all. Like I could have looked at the map, and I only saw it when I was about to attack. So, and those things hit fucking hard. So, hey. So there's another one. Oh, I think I just spent a bunch of ether on that as well. Okay. Like, okay, cool. So he's over here. Fatal close range impact. Sure. Scavenge. Let's spend some ether because. Okay, so this is a consumable, so this goes in that thing on the bottom left, and is L1 to consume. You can only hold you can only hold one of each one, but if you hold you can hold multiple of the same one. So now I've got 2 of those things, which are handy. I don't know what the fuck this room is yet. I keep coming across it. I've got absolutely no idea what it is. It doesn't do anything.
Okay. Oh, it doesn't do anything. Are you sure?
It-
It's got to do something.
I'm sure it does something, but it won't let me do whatever it is it's supposed to do.
Right, okay.
It is marked as a crimson gate, requires a crimson key.
Because of the crimson key. Okay,
I don't
sure.
know what the fuck a crimson key is. But yeah, that's kind of this game. Like I said, the lore stuff they set up and the story stuff they're setting up. So I'll probably talk a little bit about what that is, basically, because you don't get any of it at the start of the game. You basically get an extended version of that intro we saw when I died, where you play as this scout, they're called Celine. She has obviously come to this planet looking for a thing called the White Shadow, which is a signal. They have not explained to me yet what that is, why she's looking for it, none of that. But she's looking for the signal. She crash lands very quickly, finds her own body very quickly, and is like, what the fuck is happening? And then as you play, you realise that like she is remembering the resets now. So it's not a case of like your memory resets, like she is remembering that she's being reset, and is finding audio logs of her previous resets. Which is it's super interesting. Like the voice actress is really good. Like she's really selling this fucking horror that's happening really well. But like it's a case of like, okay, I've got everything. Like the game is quite clearly saying, okay, like you should go just finish this area now. Like we're good. And it's like, dude, your fucking final boss on this area is a fucking nightmare. Like, and again, the other part of the roguelike thing in here that this game doesn't do particularly well is, again, with Hades, you can set out for runs in Hades and be like, I'm not going to finish it this time, but I'm also not trying to finish it this time. I need to go out and just get some resources. I need to go out and...
do your farming runs.
Yeah. This game, you don't really get to do those choices. It is very much determined by what equipment you randomly get. So, naturally, the main loop, which you would probably want, is that you want to kill a bunch of things to upgrade your proficiency to get better weapons, and then do enough other stuff to get enough weapon drops that would use that proficiency score to get you a higher degree weapon, right? There's nothing stopping me from running straight to the boss here, but I have jack all health and a terrible weapon, right? So I would just die immediately. Also, I don't want to show the boss, but like, how well I would do is very much determined by the drops you get, and those drops are determined by how well you do at the shooting. It's not just a case of you cannot prep for a run the same way you can in other roguelikes. Like, you start with this pistol with a random alt fire, and that's it, and whatever ether you still have, which you could only spend in some shops which are randomly generated, right? So you eventually just spend a bunch of time in a run, and when you've explored the entire map of the first area and you don't have a decent gun or a high enough proficiency, like, you're just boned. Like, yes, you'll keep the ether, but like, you've just kind of wasted your time.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Which is a real problem. Okay, so we did see this. So the first time through this area, when you get to this, you just come across this fucking house on this alien world. Except this house, when you first come across it, is like pristine. It's like clean and white and like very kind of suburban US. But now it's all... And then you can go through this door and you get a bunch of story stuff in first person, and then it locks the door, it ages the house, and you never touch it again for the next 7.5 hours after that.
Excellent.
But there's a thing there, and it's quite clearly going to come up. There's also something about Spaceman that keeps following you. Again, they've briefly alluded to that, but haven't really done anything with it at this point in the game. Again, this room keeps coming up. This has got some interesting stuff here as well. So, oh, okay, an artifact I've never seen before. Let's scan it and see what it does. Grants 20% stagger power for each attached parasite. Sure, might as well grab it. So this thing comes up, which was the first clue I had. There was some kind of Dark Soulsian, like other players infecting your world style stuff, where you come across this thing and it's like, hey, dump some oblites in this thing, or take some oblites, which costs you ether.
Yeah.
And then if you keep putting stuff in there, it seems like everyone puts stuff in there, and a bunch of people, when you hit 10,000, you get a artifact like that, randomly. It's not explained.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you get, like, this is your store. So, like, you can get some consumables.
Oh, right, okay.
You get an artifact, some suit artifacts, and stuff like that. Melee kills generate energy blasts. Sure. I'm not going to survive anyway, but I might as well do this. But yeah, it's just like... I can see why... You can tell some interesting stories using roguelikes as a framing. The problem is exactly the problem this game has, which is like... How do you generate enough stuff to keep people interested when you are trying to be a game that is as unforgiving as this game is quite clearly trying to be?
Yeah.
Like, you need to back this up with some really interesting stuff to keep people coming back. And again, like, the combat is fun. Like, I am enjoying the combat. The problem is the combat has not changed in 7 hours.
There's no development.
There's no development. Like, I've come across some extra, like, alt fires, for sure. But, like... It's the same 3 weapons I've had the whole time. It's some of the same artifacts, which don't really change anything. Like, a lot of the artifacts only change you in, like, a couple of % one way or the other on something.
Yeah.
Like, the combat is very much the same. The combat does not really evolve much. Like, remember the first time in Hades when you're like, oh, it's a bunch of those guys again, and it's actually like, oh no, we've totally changed up how they play because you've met a bunch of them before. Like, nah, there's just none of that. Like, it's just not here.
Because you know exactly what you're getting.
You know exactly what you're getting every time. You're like, cool, it's tentacle dogs, I can do them. Cool, it's shitty bats, got them. Okay, fine. And also, like, again, with the amount of time I've spent with this, I don't feel like I've got much better. I just feel like I've got lucky with some drops early on that has let me kind of push through a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't feel like I've got more skilled at the game, really. I've just got kind of lucky. This is the other gun that's there, this like straight up machine gun, like, which is real handy. Cool. And this is probably my favourite thing. Also, half-life leeches, like, just...
Oh, barnacles.
Yeah, barnacles, which again, you look at that and you go, that's just a pain in the arse. Actually, they're really useful for getting up places, like up higher that you can get access to.
To get higher up, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna survive. My integrity is terrible, but we're just gonna barrel through this and see how far we can get. Okay, this is a dead room. Okay, fine. But yeah, it's probably totally successful at the thing it's trying to do, except that it's trying to do a very specific thing.
Oh yeah, I'd believe that this is like a very good roguelike. I mean, I've not played it obviously, but like,
yeah, it's a good roguelike twin stick shooter, but it is very much not trying to talk to people outside of those people who like those genres already. And oh, is the Dryad dude about here? Yeah, this dude looks awesome. I need to get rid of this because this adds shields to everyone, and then okay,
and then you die,
and then I die. But there's a lot of stuff happening there. But yeah, so this is Returnal. It is cool, but unless, like, you could look at this and go, this is 100% a thing I want to pick up. But
yeah,
if that's the thing, there's like 7 exclusives on PlayStation 5 right now, so you probably already got this. But the PSA I'm trying to do here,
like, if I had a PS5, I would totally be playing this.
Exactly.
I'm not going to go out and try and go through the massive effort to get a PS5 to play this.
Do not buy a PS... Unless you are the dude who knows who I'm talking about, do not go out and buy a PS5 for this game. It's just not... And even if you do have a PS5, like, know what 70 quid is going to get you. It's going to get you a fucking hard as nails traditional roguelike, which is also a twin stick shooter because Housemarque made it. Like that, you are getting exactly the thing on the tin. I just want people to know exactly what they're getting on the tin, basically.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, this is Returnal, is PS5 exclusive, is 70 quid, is only digital as well. There's no physical version of this because of course there's not, because it's 2021. But you will know if you want to play this, and yeah, if I have got further in this game by the end of 2021, I will be happy, but don't keep your hopes up. But yeah, thank you, Callum.
Thanks, you.